Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shrunuyam Devaah Bhadram Pashyema Akshabhiryajatraah Sthirairangaistuštuvagum Sastanubhi Vishema Devahitan Yadayuh Swasti na Indro Vriddhashravah Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedah Swasti nastarksho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brihaspatirdadhatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamas Tuma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So continuing the theme that we had started last week, we had talked about the distinction between science and philosophy. So science is the knowledge of the nature of facts. Whereas philosophy can be seen as a search for facts, which means that science is a direct understanding of what the facts are. It might take some time, like, you have new scientific discoveries that come up about the world and the Milky Way and so on and so forth. But it gets resolved by having all the facts presented in front of you. It's very possible that at one time we didn't know at what temperature the water boils, but through the measurements and so on, it can be found out. Philosophy, on the other hand, can be seen as a search for the facts, and that means what? That means there is a continuous degree of uncertainty. Because otherwise, philosophy would become science. If it became certain, replicated, you can duplicate it, then it becomes science. But until that time, when you have a degree of uncertainty, some speculation, then I think it's appropriate to call it philosophy. So this is a very fascinating thing that every human being born wants to find out what is my future. Certainly has some ideas about where do I come from and where am I going. So interestingly enough, just on that topic, Swami Akhandananda has really given a very brilliant comparison between the brilliant exposition about the comparison between the various religious thoughts. So he says that if you look at the more recent religions, of course, just in the last couple of, one is 2,000 year old, the other one is, 1,000 years old, Christianity and Islam. So if we just look at these two religions, their postulation, and this all falls under philosophy. So it is not certain, but they have a degree of postulation, uncertainty. Be that as it may, both of them say that the jiva had a beginning when you are born, when your mother and father conceive you and you appear in this world. That is the beginning of the jiva. There was no existence of the jiva before that time. This is what their contention is. Jiva has no history. It just starts, but it can live forever. And it can live forever in one of two conditions. If you accept certain tenets of the religion, then you will have a happy existence forever. And if you don't accept it, then you will have a very unpleasant existence forever. This is what they say. Now, it's interesting. The majority of the human beings in this world are what are called Charvakahas. I think you know about this already. I'm just giving you a composite picture. So the composite picture is that, generally speaking, every human being, unless you glom on to one of the other religious sects, your feeling is, this is what is called Charvakahas. So the Charvakahas means just a normal, ordinary person, good person. In the view of such people, the jiva has a beginning. So just like Christianity and Islam, it had no existence before you were born. So it has a starting. But unlike Christianity and Islam, it ends with the death of the body. So this is all about jiva, a person that has a body. It's not just the body. So this is exactly what you and I also feel, that I'm a person, some conscious person that is endowed with hands and legs and all the other things, and the ability to think, ability to talk. This is the jiva. Not the body, but the jiva. So according to the Charvakahas, the jiva has a beginning and an end. This is Charvakahas. Then the two recent religious thoughts say it did not have a beginning. It began when this life begins, but then it lives forever. This is their philosophy. All of this is philosophy. Okay? With no certainty. So heavy dose of faith. That's what it is. Then there are other variations. For example, Jainism. Jainism feels that the jiva has been around for a long time and it keeps on changing. And then you take on new lives, and at some point in time, you take on different shapes. So the jiva itself takes on different shapes. Sometimes you can be an elephant. Sometimes you can be a human being. But the jivatvam, the very the ability to be a jiva stays. And then you can become a very wise person, just like a few other people have become, and then you can live forever. This is what the Jains say. The Buddhists have their own philosophy, and let's not get into that. Vedanta. And when we talk about Vedanta, we mean Advaita Vedanta, not Vishishta Vedanta, not any other sections of it, not Shaivism, not Vaishnavism. This is not what we're talking about, because they also have different views of what happens to the jiva. But look at the Advaita Vedanta. In Advaita Vedanta, what it says is, there is no such thing factually as a jiva. Factually, a jiva is really Paramatma. What you can even extend, it all is language. You can say the feeling of being a jiva, because jiva means I'm a jivatma. Atma here means a conscious person. And what kind of a conscious person? A limited conscious person. This is what is called jivatma. So according to Advaita Vedanta, there has never been the start of jivatma. Never. So, what do you mean by never have a start? It has always been Paramatma. It is the nature of Paramatma, which is Brahman. So, the Jivatma is a notion. Just like a dream is a notion. A dream character is a notion. Similarly, a waking character is a notion. Notion means some kind of a thought, in the case of the dream, as you know, this is what we've been studying in Mandukya Upanishad, that the dream is a short example of how things appear to be, even though they are false. So in that sense, the dream is a notion. Right? We all know that. The fact is that you have your own identity, nothing to do with the dream. Similarly, even the waking person means the Vyavaharika Satyam, because according to how we do the Viveka, the dream is Pratibhasika Sat. It's purely subjective. You don't share it with anybody. This is your own personal. And what you dream about, only you know. Nobody else knows. Whereas the Jagrata Avastha has a dose of Vyavaharika Sat. Vyavahara. Vyavahara means transaction, which means that you and I both have a certain form that can be recognized. This is why when we see somebody and say, "Oh, how are you?" So this is the Jagrata Avastha. But the Jagrata Avastha is also a notion. It is not as subjective as a dream. Not as subjective, but it is still a notion. Why is it a notion? How can we say that it's a notion? Because it doesn't stay. Because the fact, if it is a science, excuse me, it would be replicated. But that's not the case. It's a very interesting situation that all of a sudden a person can just disappear. It's all our experience. Our parents, mothers and fathers and friends, and recently, Jugal passed away. One time you see him, you're talking, and then you disappear. So there's no finality. This is not a science. The jiva disappears. So in the case of Advaita Vedanta, what it says is that really speaking, the Jivatma is a notion. You're always Paramatma. Always Paramatma. It's interesting. Sometimes, we talk about God, Ishvara, Paramatma as a kind of a unknown entity, right? So in any normal conversation between two normal people, they'll say, have about Ishvara and God, Brahman, Paramatma, whatever name you want to give it, Almighty, is somewhere. We don't know where that is. This is total ignorance. Total ignorance means you can keep on searching for it forever and never really see what you're searching for. It's total ignorance. But do you know what the facts are? Just think about this. This is in one way mind-boggling, on the other way it is very simple. All the acharyas really say, it is interesting. The acharyas say that the Paramatma is hiding in you. Eko devaha sarvabhuteshu gudaha sarvavyapi sarvabhutantara atma. There's a verse in Shvetashvatara Upanishad which we will hopefully study. In fact, there's some aspects of it I will study a bit later on. But let me come back to the main topic, that Paramatma is always paroksha, never pratyaksha, never in front of me. It's always a thought, a prayer, isn't it? Nothing could be farther than the truth. Nothing. In that sense, it is total ignorance. As in Bhagavad Gita also it says, Ya Nisha Sarvabhutanam, one which is night for most people is the day for a jnani. And what is the night for a jnani is the day of all the people. Ya Nisha Sarvabhutanam. Was it? I completely. Jagrati Sarvabhuta Bhutani. Jagrati and Jagrati. Beautiful verse. Anyway, coming back to the topic, it just appears that it is not there. Now let me just give you some facts. Okay. You and I have an ability to see, to be aware. Can you deny that? Can anybody poke a hole on that? Every being sees, is aware. Sees means not just by eyes, but sees the whole experience, is aware of everything. As it is covered, my life is covered with knowing. So far, I'm sure you agree. Is there any being, even if it is a bug, even if it is an ant, birds, they see, they are aware. And that awareness flows through their body-mind complex. Because my awareness flows into my eyes, and the eyes can see. My awareness flows through my ears. Same awareness. In Dakshinamurti Stotram, Nana Chidragatodara Sthita Mahadipa Prabhabhaswaram Jnanam Yastu Chakshuradi Bahispandate Janamiti Tameva Bhantam Anubhati Etat Samastam Jagat Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namahitam Shri Dakshina Murtaye. Same things being talked about. Here's a single awareness. If you look at just one jiva, forget about all the jivas and so on. Just one person. That one person has an awareness which flows, so that's what the Dakshinamurti Stotram says, Adi Shankara says, that really, Prabhabhaswaram, there is, supposing you have a huge vessel with holes, and there is a light inside of that. And that light is the one we were going to come. That is the main topic I want to discuss. But that light is the one that is flowing through your entire body-mind complex. Same awareness. Now let's go back to the topic. What is the topic? Where is Paramatma? And how ignorant our thinking is, not recognizing something which is right in front. See, because Ishvara is paroksha, not here, not pratyaksha, but paroksha. Now, you ready for this? This is interesting. This is really, I think when it just dawned on me, I was just flabbergasted. This ability to see this awareness, the same awareness which flows through your various karanas, your all instruments, seeing, hearing, etc. Same awareness, that ability to see. Is that manufactured? Just think about that. Is that awareness, are you creating it? Is there anything that you and I create which is not subject to destruction? You and I are capable of committing suicide. So we can destroy the body-mind. We have that ability. But look at the ability to see, awareness. Is that awareness created? Certainly not by you and I, but with anybody. Maybe, just like oil is created and flows through as energy. Is awareness created like that? Now, if it is not created means that it can come and go. One time it is not there, now I have it. Is it like that? It is an amazing entity. Amazing. There's no word strong enough to describe the ability of knowing, awareness. It is always there, never prone to disappearance. Never. Not possible. And if that is the case, do we not see that this awareness is everywhere, at all times? Not as an object that I can see, not pratyaksha, but it is also not paroksha. It's not paroksha. Because is awareness paroksha? Paroksha means not here. No. So it's very interesting. It's neither pratyaksha. It's not like a book in front of you that you can see. Neither it is something which is not seen. Means it is aparoksha. It is you. And leave aside the you part for a minute. That's, we can discuss that. What I'm really talking about is Paramatma. You can call it Ishvara, you can call it Brahman, you can call it God. You cannot have life without it. It is the basis of our lives. I see. It is the nature of Sat. Truth. Never subject to time. Never. Not a function of where. The where is nothing but an aspect of awareness. Nothing can be without awareness. Awareness means I know. I know. And this I know is constant. It is independent of any specific thing. It overlays the whole world, the whole existence. Is this not Paramatma? This is what exactly our problem is. That we take this all encompassing presence of Paramatma, which is so obvious. So obvious means you cannot be without Paramatma. You cannot be without this consciousness. Can you? No, not possible. You must be aware of yourself in order to exist. This is called Jnanam, Chit Swarupam, Swayam Jyoti. And there's no parts to it. There are verses that talk about that so specifically. Nishkalam, Nishkriyam, Niravadyam, Niranjanam. All of those words we will discuss at some point. But that awareness, isn't that Paramatma? Can't we see this? It is so obvious that we miss it. Oh, no. Because you know how we do it? Because our entire... See, this is what the teaching of Vedanta is all about. Is that my existence and my future is so obvious that I miss it. I miss it. I don't. All I'm doing, you know why? This is what Swami Akhandananda says this over and over again. Because this is the thing I really enjoy about his writings, because they are the conversions of actual talks with people. This is what it's all about. The teaching is about between human beings. And so, it is not just kind of like, you can say there is some text and some theoretical thing, or it has nothing to do. You can write anything you want to. You can say anything you... But when you have a communication between two people, then it's real. Because people's problems are real. Solutions are real. If you have a Mahatma that knows what the problems are and is able to answer them, then that dialogue becomes very realistic. And I really admire the students of Swami Akhandananda. Thousands of people who have involved in very accurately transcribing the actual dialogue between people. I'll give you what's behind my mind is an example. Because, and what I find is that Swamiji is so knowledgeable as a Mahatma. He spent his whole lifetime learning from other Mahatmas, probing them. So he was so well known, this is the point I was making, that what I find is in his teaching, he has questions from people who have been studying for a long time. And they have questions that they bring up real questions in their lives. So one example this is what I was thinking of is, it's all related to the fact that the Paramatma is hidden, not easily visible, even though it should be. It's the simplest thing there is, but we make it so hard. So this is the dialogue that he was talking about. So he says one time, somebody asked him, this is actually in this verse from Shvetashvatara Upanishad. I'd love to really talk about that, but I'm continuing on with Mandukya. So this is the same one, Eko Devaha. It is, if you want to refer to it, it's in chapter 6, the last chapter of Shvetashvatara Upanishad, 6:11. And I've been studying this very assiduously for the last few days. Every word, thinking, meditating. So in that, he recounts a dialogue with some people. And very intelligent people who have been studying for a while. So this kind of a doubt is not easily asked unless you are committed to the study. It's not just a casual question by somebody. So anyway, somebody asked him a question. He said, Swamiji, why is Ishvara hidden from us? Tell me. Now, you and I may have that kind of a question, but to bring it down to an actual doubt in front of a Mahatma, in front of other people, is something interesting. So he recounts that. He says, somebody asked me, Sir, I don't understand. Why does Ishvara have to be hidden? Swamiji says, you know what? Unless he was hidden, the entire creation of the world that you see, people being born, people dying, people fighting, Trump invading Iran, killing 160 young children, and the consequences and the growth of the distinction between poor, the entire creation will not be possible. This is his answer. He says, none of this creation. This is a play. This is a very sophisticated play with some very sophisticated in the sense not easy to decipher plot of the play. It's a storyline. None of that will be possible if Ishvara was not hidden. Transactions will not happen because everybody will say, you know what, I'm fulfilled. There's nothing, I don't need to act. I'm fulfilled. Because that is the nature of the Atma. Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. Purnam is the very nature of the Atma. Everybody is Purnam all the time. There is no desire, there is no action, there is no karma phala. Nothing will happen. I was thinking about this. It's kind of like supposing you you create a play, and in the play you have some famous actors who are very well known, and they are so good. They have made a name for themselves. They have made a lot of money. You can take it either Hollywood or Bollywood or whatever. You can talk about Amitabh Bachchan and Deepika Padukone and very famous people who are really worth crores of rupees. Same thing in Hollywood and so on. And they all participate in a play. Now, if their behavior in the play is exactly as they are in their lives. Supposing there's a play where you're supposed to ask for some money. We can examine it like a beggar, like say. And suppose Amitabh Bachchan plays as a beggar. And can he show his actual wealth while begging? Does that make any sense? If all the actors and actresses who are all very famous and very well known, they're all acting according to their situation in life, will there be a play? No. So what happens is they hide it and they assume an identity and make a play out of it. Then there is some enjoyment, some play is there. You remember that very famous story that Swami Viditatmananda once had recounted. I'll never forget that. It's really beautiful. That there was a movie, 917. There was a movie that was being shot. And in that movie, there was a sequence where a robber hijacks a car. And, you can imagine that he hijacks this car, and there's a baby sitting in there, and the mother asks the police, and the police follows this robber in traffic, and he drives very fast, and the police try to keeps up with it. And then as the plot says, that the robber actually escapes. And then he takes the baby, and then there's some other story about all that. So this is the movie. So they're trying to get people to accept the parts. So then they had this part about the policeman who's supposed to really chase him in and out of traffic. They actually had they were showing how the movie was shot in a freeway, and it had to be done where you actually weave in and out of lanes, and there's a camera which is looking at this. This is the movie. So they interviewed this guy, and he said, yeah, I would love to take that part because I'm a very good driver, I'm a very fast driver, and I'm young, so they said, okay, good. You have a policeman, and he gave him the police uniform, and he was sitting there. And then he was called to say, chase this robber. And he started chasing. Then he thought, the plot says that this robber escapes, I am not able to catch him. This is what the storyline says. So he was told this is what it is. So he says, in that case, there is a real danger in my life. Because if I have to go in and out, I may have an accident, I may kill somebody, or I may be killed in it. Not really necessary. I'll do a little bit of it and then I will just, because, I'm not getting paid that much. And the story says that I cannot catch him anyway. So he slows down. He does the chase for like half a minute. And then this guy keeps on speeding up and the policeman slows down and takes his own time. If there is some cars in front of it, it doesn't honk it so to move ahead. These guys are taking a picture and the whole thing is completely ruined because it was supposed to be a long chase of the police going after this guy. He comes up and so the directors and all these people said, "What did you do?" He said, "I'm sorry, I did the best I could, but you told me that he was going to escape anyway, so why should I just do that?" This is the story. So the guy said, "You are okay. We have already given you a promise of how much we are going to pay you. You will never get another job. You never get a recommendation from us. This is stupidity." Swamiji says, if Ishvara was to become visible to people from the very beginning, supposing you are born as a jnani, everybody is born as a jnani. How long it will take you, you don't know, maybe 4 years, 3 years. It takes a little longer time for the babies to find out. But soon, this is why, they'll be in Vedanta class at the age of 7. You are Brahman, you are the Atma, and so on. So, okay, that's it, I'm done. Doesn't happen that way. So, it's Swami Khandananda ends this episode of talking about the hiddenness of Atma. Even though, if you think about it, if you do vichara, as we saw, you will easily see, I don't know how easily, but you can see that the presence of Ishvara is through my ability to see constantly. And it is the entire world is covered with seeingness. Sakshi, Sakshitvam, Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Anantam. There's no limit to it. There's nothing to stop it. Just think about it. You can come up with some ideas that I'm going to die. This is our imagination. Really, when you say that I'm going to die, you know what you mean? That my consciousness is going to die. It cannot. It never has. It's the same consciousness. Same awareness, same jnanam, same Paramatma. In and through your dream, your deep sleep, the day, yesterday, tomorrow. This is Paramatma. So Swamiji concludes this portion by saying that this is the play. The play of life, believe it or not, is Ajnata Atma is Dukkha Karanam. Not knowing the Atma, not knowing Paramatma, really speaking. Because whenever you say Atma, you just think this is my own personal Atma. No, there's no personal Atma. There's only Paramatma. So the feeling is, if you, the plot, the story is, the essence of the play of life story is that if you don't know Paramatma, you have problems. You have dukkha. You have depression. What's going to happen? Where am I going? If you know the Atma, and the whole world becomes subservient to you. Cannot disturb, subservient in the sense it cannot disturb you, because you are Satyam Jnanam Anantam. This is the play of life. Ajnata Atma is Dukkha Karanam, Jnata Atma Sukha Karanam. This play cannot happen if the Paramatma is not hiding from you. Swamiji gives this very lovely example. You know, this is exactly what all the acharyas have pointed out. Not only the acharyas, but the very Vedic scriptures also say the same thing. That what binds you is what releases you. Same person binds you and the same person releases you. Ramindanand used to say this in a different way. He would say, you are the problem, you are the solution. So Swami Akhandananda pointed it out. Ajnata Atma Dukkha Rupam, Dukkha Karanam. Jnata Atma Sukha Karanam. And he gives an interesting example. He says, suppose you are, this is an example given quite frequently in the old India, that there is a trader who is coming back from some other village after selling some goods, and he's got money in his. This is the very common example given, that this trader goes to some other village, from his village to some other village, and he has already done the transactions, he's earned some good money, which is in his pocket, and now he's coming back. And as he was coming back, he passes through a foresty area, which is scary because it's dark and it's full of trees and shrubs and animals and strange sounds and so on. But he knows that he has to go through it. There's no other way. There's no highway. He has to go through certain dense parts of the forest. So he's in the dense part of the forest, and all of a sudden he sees there's a guy on a horseback, and he's got some weapons. He's got some guns and swords. And he says, "Oh my God, my time is over." He also knows that there are robbers they just roam around trying to fleece traders. And he says, "Okay, I guess my time has come." And this guy is coming closer and closer together, and there's no way you can run away from him. And so his fear grows. All he's hoping for is that maybe my life would be spared. He won't kill me. Okay, let him take all the money. It's okay, whatever it is. So he's got all kinds of fears that take place and so on. And then when this guy is coming closer, he realizes this is a neighbor of his who goes hunting in the woods from time to time. He knew about it. And he says, "Hey, where are you coming from?" So the guy says, "Oh my God. Thank you. I thought you were a robber out to kill me. I didn't realize you were my neighbor." He says, "Of course, I'm just out hunting, and what I don't know you're doing." He says, "I'm coming back from my trade." So the example he gives is, the same person can be a source of fear, and the same person can be a source of happiness. But you have to recognize. If you don't recognize him, so this is what happens. We don't recognize the presence of Ishvara. I tell you, I think that our thinking should be this idea that overlaying everything in my life, there is Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Jnanam means I know, I'm aware, and I am. You cannot be aware unless you are. And the idea that you are is not limited. See, this is what we have to see. That I am aware, is Anantam. That is Ananda, Satchidananda. And that Sat and Chit is not generated by you. You are in the middle of it. You are overlaying on top of that. Just like a dream is an overlay on top of you. And just like that, even in the day or night or whatever time, whenever you are awake, your notion that I'm just a limited person is an overlay on this. I know. Can't we see this? And so we should really just kind of stop looking. Trying to find Paramatma. And to turn this into a recognition of what already is. And yes, it's very possible that my mind may be slow to awaken to this fact. That's okay. But it's a fact. It's not it's philosophy. These are just two. I went into some detail on some side, but coming back to it. This is not philosophy. It is in fact a fact. And the science is the discovery of a fact, isn't it? That's what science is. It's not a forever philosophy that will have a constant dose of uncertainty. Everything else is a philosophy. But the teaching of Vedanta is the only science there is. How can we say that? Because it reveals the ultimate fact, ultimate truth. And then we can go back to and then the fact of it is that it is hidden because I am used to only seeing things in front of me and then deciding, yes, this is true, this is not true. But this is adrishtam. 7th verse, adrishtam avyavaharyam achintyam. But adrishtam doesn't mean it is not there. It is just not there as an object, that's all. It is you. And your truth is Satyam Jnanam Anantam. You always are. And you're always aware. So as we were saying earlier, that this is another, I don't think I'll have time to really go into this, so I can just hint at it, and then I will try to take it next time, which is, so you remember what we had talked about in the last class. If you haven't, I think it's a very key thing to really think about. What I'm referring to is what I had pointed out in the last class, which is that an unshakable relationship between black smoke and fire needs to be learned by a youngster. Somebody has to point out the fact. This is science. It's not philosophy. That whenever there is a black smoke, there must be a fire. This is an unshakable truth, isn't it? And this may not be known. I can even imagine that if this has never been taught, even to some adults, they may not think about it. But usually I think people will figure it out one way or the other. But anyway, there was a period when you didn't know this. And then it was pointed out, and from that point on, it becomes an obvious fact that gives you a proof of any experience and analyze it properly. Similarly, in the Vedantic teaching, one of these facts is there cannot be a sense of limitation without a basis of non-limitation. This is what is called adhisthana. The adhisthana is the truth, and what's overlaid on top of that is a notion. And this you can see everywhere. So for example, supposing you are creating some ornaments out of a metal, or you're carving, you're a wood carver and you have a beautiful picture of Krishna, wood Krishna. So the form of the wood Krishna, wooden Krishna, is based on a skill, some idea about, somebody should have an idea about what Krishna looked like in our mythology. So it has some creativity, some form, and so on. But the material of the wooden form of Krishna is wood. And in that sense, there is no creativity, but it is the very basis. Similarly, ornaments of gold. It can be a beautiful ornament, or it could be not very beautiful. It could be old, it could be modern, all kinds of designs. But the gold itself, this is what is called avyavaharyam versus vyavaharyam. So, if somebody makes a golden ornament, or let's go back to the example of the wooden Krishna. Supposing some artist makes a wooden Krishna and he sends it and he places a price for it and say, this is 250 rupees, you can go and look at it. And he did not do a good job. The figure is not very attractive. Nobody buys it. And the fellow is disappointed. So he goes to some other people and says, you made some errors, and please try to change the form or anything. Next time he does it, it sells. So that is transactional, vyavaharya. Whether people like it or don't like it, all depends on the form. But that's not true for the wood itself, because the wood is avyavaharyam. And similarly, we as a formful part may have vyavaharya. People may not like me, or they may like me. We have mutual love and affection or indifference, whatever it is. But it does not affect the basis, which is the adhisthana, which is Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Anyway, some further thoughts on this topic. Om Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. An affection or yeah, you're both right that Vedanta is the science of science. You can say that, yes. And Shanti Kumar, yes, Pratibodha Viditam Matam in Kenopanishad. So, very true. Very happy that all of you came and attended this class and had a chance to go over these concepts. And good to see you, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Hari Om.